Before you throw your old motherboard out of the window, you need to watch this. While it feels good to upgrade your motherboard when it can't get the job done, but when you already have a decent one, it feels so burdensome to change it just because you now have to change your CPU to a new generation as your current motherboard can't support it. But in case you're running an old Ryzen CPU on one of an old 300 series motherboard from AMD, you might not need to change your motherboard if you want to upgrade to something like a Ryzen 5600X or even a Ryzen 5950X. And I'm not just talking about the overclockable chipsets that include the B330 and the X370, but also the entry-level A320 chipset motherboard. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, some motherboard vendors in November 2021 gave the A320 chipset to support the Vermeer family, which includes the Ryzen 5000 series CPUs. It was a success, but soon AMD stopped these companies to provide further support to make new-gen Ryzen processors to work on the B350 and X370 motherboards. But as soon as AMD enthusiast community responded back with criticism, AMD can now be seen to work on this again. In a recent interview with Tom's Hardware, AMD told them that they are currently working on this and they are figuring out how to make it possible. This is definitely the right way how AMD should work, as it promised that AM4 platform will work for at least 5 years, and therefore the motherboard compatibility block is nothing but just a contradiction to AMD's own statement. While it is also true that the newer AMD chipsets will allow better support for all types of new-gen features, there are many who are switching towards the Intel's Alder platform as it provides better performance for money when compared to AMD's Ryzen 5000 series CPU-GPU combos, like using an Intel Core i5-12400F with a B660 motherboard compared to Ryzen 5600X with a B550 motherboard is cheaper and gives better gaming performance. So certainly letting Ryzen 5600X as well as the other Ryzen 5000 series CPUs to work on an older 300 chipset motherboard will make existing AMD users skip switching to the Blue Team. Now great thing is that there are multiple vendors that include Asus, Gigabyte, ASRock and BioStar that already released their new updates for the A320 chipset, and users are enjoying the latest Ryzen CPUs on these 5-year-old motherboards. A user on Twitter with the name Tech Epiphany has successfully ran his Ryzen 5950X on a $60 A300 motherboard. He used an Asus A320MK motherboard and it is easily running without overheating. He even added that he could keep his fingers on the VRM on full load. Yes, he can't overclock the 5950X as A320 is a locked chipset, but he can definitely get all the high-end performance without using an expensive B550 or X570 chipset. Now the only thing left is that AMD also allows vendor to provide support for the B350 and X370 chipset motherboards, as they allow overclocking and give several good features compared to the A320. To me, this is personally beneficial as I still own a Ryzen 1700X from the past 5 years, and if I ever need it, I can just buy a Ryzen 5000 series CPU without changing my X370 chipset motherboard. Moreover, if the support goes to these older chipsets, it is very likely that the 400 series motherboards will also get this support, as 300 and 400 chipset motherboards use the same silicon. Now time for the bonus. If you have been following this channel, you already know that Intel totally skipped the discrete graphics cards for desktops in CES. A lot of reports said that Intel has changed the launch date from its website from Q1 2022 to just 2022, implying that desktop graphics cards are delayed for the launch. However, Steve from Gamers Nexus has just released a video where he said that he asked Intel about it, and this is what Intel had to say.
So we asked Intel why it did that. Intel said the following, quote, "We are targeting the first Alchemist products to be in market in Q1 of 2022. There you have it. Nothing has changed. This is a non-story."
I hope you liked the video, and if you did, then hit like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.